One. Hello, hello, hello. What up, my glip glops? Today is another episode on a Saturday. It is the 7th of November, and here we are. How are you? This is a new episode of the Journey Vlog. That's a name in progress where we show you the journey, not talk about the future. Okay, that was totally messed up. Totally screwed that one up. I'm 100% caffeinated right now, getting up more caffeine. And today is the big question. What's the best way to spend your time, right? Isn't that something people have been asking for a long time? What is time well spent? I don't know. Sorry, man. If you thought you're going to get an answer, I don't know. But that's something I've been thinking about the past week or so. So I've been doing a lot of time management to improve my energy levels, and that doesn't make sense. But I realize that I spend a lot of time working, and sometimes you can sort of feel plugged in. So I've been working at home for over a year now. Okay, before it was cool, and it's been a long, long year, and I've been having these back and forth feelings of being plugged in because all my work is digital. I have very, very little offline work. So when I'm working 8, 10 hours a day on multiple different projects, you start to feel like you're constantly like in this chair over here. I'm sitting on a chair. Okay, got. Can't show you. Computer can't rotate. Got another screen over here. So I'm constantly working on my computer, and over time that can feel sort of stagnation because or stagnating because at some point you're like, is this all there is to life? It's just sitting down, typing on a keyboard. It's no wonder my cats keep laughing at me or try and get my attention. Because like this human's crazy. He just sits all day and he crackles on this, black square. What the hell, man? Humans are weird. And I always feel like I have this pent up energy that there's only one way to get it out. It's through like massive, massive amounts of action. And that can translate in a lot of ways. You can be doing exercise, you can be, mental energy expenditure. I don't know, but because there's so much energy, I'm always like, you know how you have that feeling where you get excited and you're motivated and you start to feel like, right, this like sense of urgency or this energy that just like wants to like, especially when you're fantasizing about something and you're starting to get all these ideas, and it's almost like your eyes are starting to look upward and you feel like you kind of just want to like you feel energy rising and you just want to like pour it out somewhere. And the thing is with computers is it's very hard to get that physical part of it, so you're spending the mental output and working on your craft or your project online or on your computer, and you're using like arguably more of your energy than doing something physical, because your brain uses so much energy. At the same time, there's like this lack in no matter what you're working on, whether you're designing a building or you're building a new store or an online business or you're talking to customers, there's this 1% feeling of this stagnation where nothing is moving, and that's because you're not moving, right, physically. And for the longest time I was like, is this bad, is this bad, should I do something about this? And I do exercise regularly, but there was just this small 1% of dissatisfaction of just being physically immobile, right? Because here I am, let's say if I decide I want to work real hard today, I'm going to work the entire day today. What does that mean? Does that mean running around different places, meeting people, going to meetings, walking around an office? No, That typically means just sitting down for 10, 12 hours in front of a computer. Um, and I started reassessing whether this is something that is sustainable for the future, as a sustainable for you as a person. Because at some point, if you're just like slaving away every single day, but you're just on the computer, like, are you missing out on life? Is this not real? Is this something that is not worth these years and time spent just being burned away in front of a desk? I don't know, right? But that's a series of questions I started to ask myself: is what is worth time spent? So I took some time off my computer, and I was like, today I'm not gonna touch my computer. I'm not gonna touch my phone. I'm just gonna let myself just, you know, move around with the physical world. And we're under a semi lockdown. It's not a full lockdown, so a lot of activities outside are closed. Um, there's some restaurants open and stuff. So here's another funny thing. So one of the things that led me to this was, I was like, okay, if you're not gonna work, what are you gonna do? I was like, well, I can't travel. I don't have any money, right? I live paycheck to paycheck, and I have zero savings. So I don't have money to travel. I don't have money to afford keep going to like restaurants every day or coffee shops to do my work. I basically don't have money except for eating and expenses. So that leaves me with one solution, which is, if you don't have the money that you need to live a dynamic life, it means you gotta just keep working, right? What else you can't, you don't have money, go make some money. That's all you should be focused on. Okay. Until you can have enough money where you can just like have the time to do the things that you want. Now, here's the funny thing: most people spend their entire life trying to get money so that they can have the free time to do what they want. Whereas I have the free time to do what I want, but I don't have the money to fund any of it. It's pretty interesting, but I think you need money, right? So the second thing was, okay, so if I have all the time in the world, but if I don't have money, I'm going to end up working, right? But let's say I made that money and now I have all the time in the world. Like, does this mean, because my craft is on the computer. So as I get better, I'm going to spend more time on the computer, right? It's my craft. So since I have all the time in the world and I make just enough to live, it means I can choose to just not do anything today, right? I can choose not to do anything today. And I tried that. I'm like, let's make things less stagnant on a computer. So I didn't do anything. But then what I ended up doing was working on more of my craft. So, computer or not, like, take the computers away. Let's say we were back in the olden days. It would boil down to the same question: what are you going to spend your time on? If it's not on the computer, is it out in the farm? Is it in the studio sculpting statues or making paintings? Is it, you know, cleaning a crystal shop or a window shop? How much more dynamic would it be? Which leads to the question: why is this deep feeling of, like, you know, why is this feeling of stagnation, even though my ancestors didn't do any different? I'm like, again, it's either you're working on your craft or you're just not. And if you're not, you're probably resting, right? Or you're entertaining yourself, which is resting. So why? And then I said, maybe it's because it's missing that physical exertion part. You're using your mental, but you're not using your body. Whereas back in the day, everything you did involved your hands, involved your muscles, it involved a lot of physical activities because we didn't have technology yet. Even, okay, maybe scholars didn't move as much. Maybe they spent all their time in a library just reading or writing. I'm not sure, right? But in terms of what's the best way to spend your time, I think that's just kind of subjective, because you're either working on your craft or you're not. And if you're not working on your craft and you're not resting, then you're working on someone else's craft, which in a way is still you working on yourself, because even if you're working for somebody else, you're still getting experience. Okay. And that adds into your pool of your own craft, the craft of yourself. So, what was interesting is that I realized after becoming better with managing time that when I do have large amounts of free time, I usually spend it on more of my craft. So instead of doing other things, it's almost like, what do you do on in your time? Okay, I start and build businesses. What do you do in your free time? I also start and build businesses. It's kind of crazy, but when I realized that, I had some deep content. Like, oh, okay, I guess there is no real FOMO, because I'm just doubting myself of the amount of time I'm spending on what I'm doing, and because it feels stagnant, because I'm physically immobile, it starts to feel like I'm burning away precious time or precious energy. But take it all away, and it still comes back to the same thing. So I was like, okay, but this 1% feeling of restlessness is bothering me, and I don't like it. I don't like being in my computer all day, even though if I'm not missing out, even though it's not considered lost time. Okay. Because if you think about it, if you had all your needs satisfied, let's say we lived in a world where everybody had universal income, nobody had to work for money, and you had all your wants satisfied, not your wants, all your needs satisfied, what would you do with your time? Are you just going to sit and play video games and entertain yourself? There's a high chance some people will do that, but I think that the majority of people will eventually get bored of those things and start doing something, stuff that's actually through joy, right? Stuff that's not uh, constricted by stress or practicality. Instead, everyone's just going to let that inspiration come out because they're not distracting themselves anymore, and they don't have like day-to-day worries to consider in every single action. Now it's just going to be spontaneous and a little free. Who knows? It could just end up a whole world of fat asses. I don't know. But the point is, there is no, like, I feel that like your life is limited and you've got this amount of time to learn and do hard things, because if you lived your life doing the things that are easy, it means you're less invested in them. And if you're less invested in something, you're more likely to take it for granted. And if you do take those things for granted, then they just like fly by past your head. You don't even value them. You don't notice them, whether they're gone or they're there. You forget about it. So if you lived your life doing the easy things, you're going to have a bunch of things that you're not truly invested in, which eventually means you're going to be attracted to the next best thing. And that next best thing is going to push you to have to move past your initial comfort zone and put in a little more energy, even if it's like a 1%. And that's going to make you appreciate more of what you got. So even if you are doing the easy things, it seems that at some point in your life, you're going to divert towards the harder decisions, even out of like selfish reasons, right? Because even though the things you have that you did through the easy actions were good things, you won't value them as much. So you're just going to be attracted to the things you don't have and the things you have to put energy towards to get, because when you get them now, you value them. Now they're more precious because you had to spend time to get it. And I think that's maybe one, like there is no, it's either you're doing the hard things to propel yourself forward, or you're doing the easy things that will eventually push you to go do the hard things because you're trying to achieve self-satisfaction. And one of the things I'm like, okay, in that case, I guess what I'm doing is not a waste of time. It is probably the best way to spend my time, into working towards something difficult, something that requires a lot of critical solving and problem solving, like I like that stuff, right? It challenges me. It makes the rewards way more worth it. It makes the years spent that boil down to those moments like, yes, I'm glad I committed to this. But I still don't like that 1% of restlessness that comes up that makes me feel like I'm melting and I'm stagnant. So, how do I combat this? What I did is I just started to include more physical things in my day to day, whether that's waking up in the morning and going for a run, whether that's spending 30 minutes or 40 minutes just doing exercises at home, push-ups or sit-ups or whatever, something to exert my body physically, okay? Not just mental exertion, but physical exertion to reduce that neurotic stimulation that's just like constantly in your head, just like bang, 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 like solving problems like on the computer, just computing. At some point is you start to become beta because you're constantly reassessing every decision, rethinking everything, re-strategizing. You're constantly in your thoughts. It's a great thing, but not when you're not supposed to be that way. So when you do, because humans are meant to move. We're creatures of motion, right? We started moving. That's why we have bodies. We weren't meant to be like a computer. We weren't meant to be stagnant. Everything about our physiology is about moving. Like staying indoors is actually really bad for you if it's consistent. If you're not going out, if you're not moving your body, if you're not getting sunlight, that's actually really bad for your body. It's killing you because you're not meant to stay at home. It's just you're not meant to be indoors. You're meant to scavenge. You're meant to hunt. You're meant to run around. That's how you came about to survival. And even though we're in a modern age and we don't have to do that, your body is still old. It doesn't know the difference. And we need to move, right? We have so much muscles. We got to move. So I started making movement something crucial to my day to day. And I accepted the fact that time well spent is entirely up to you. And that feeling of well spentness comes from the gratitude of the value of the actions that you took that day. And that gratitude increases with the difficulty of what it was and the challenge for you of what it was to conquer it. So you value it more because you invested in it. And third is to keep moving to make sure that we can change our brain waves from beta to alpha to reduce that neurotic energy when we don't need it anymore and to reclaim that animal spirit. That's just like, I think that's what it is. It's just the animal spirit just like wants to move. Meanwhile, I'm here like, meditation won't get rid of it. Because if anything, meditation increases it. Because every time I sit and I meditate and I'll do these exercises, it just increases my spirit. Yeah, my mind goes quiet, but now I'm just like filled with energy that I just need to like push it out somewhere. These videos help a lot. Why? I'm moving my body. I'm exerting energy out. Get it past to you through the screen. I'm having to stop thinking and just go and look at this 18 minutes. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't even know where this is coming from. I should only look. I'm just looking at this camera so that I just zone out of my surroundings. Okay. These things, they really contribute to just your mental contentness. I still feel a little bit of that restlessness, but when I exercise a little bit, when I do these kind of videos, when I do art, especially art that's free flowing art, it helps. I feel like that motion comes into play. It's still not at the level I want it. I still feel that weird residing feeling of just like stagnation where you're just like plugged in, for lack of a better words. I feel plugged in all the time. And I feel like I need to kind of like break myself down to like relax. Or that doesn't make sense, but it's hard. It's like an animal spirit that I guess the best way, if you shout really loud, if you just shout at the top of your lungs, that inherent relief you feel by like letting all of it out. I think that It's somewhat related to that feeling of release. And there's not enough release through the computer. Even though half the things I work on are creative stuff, they're creative things. It's talking to people, it's making content, it's shooting videos, it's campaigns, advertising, cryptocurrency, going crazy. Like art in general. I think about a lot of uh, fictional things that sometimes I draw out, but it's not enough. It's not enough to just expel that through creativity. I think there needs to be creative motion too. And part of that could be from like exercise, but it's hard to explain because even exercise doesn't get rid of that feeling. So I started this as a time video, but now as I'm sharing this with you, I'm starting to feel that this is more about that feeling of stagnation. What is that? I don't know. Doesn't feel nice. And I mean, it's not that much of a big deal. Okay, I've been doing this for years, and it it hasn't. It's not making me depressed or anything. It's just literally it's like 1%. That's just like burning at the back of your head. It's like you. How long are you gonna stay staring at a computer, man? Because when I was in architecture school, I was there for 5 years, and all of it was on the computer. So I started feeling this since back then. I'm just like, okay, I can't wait till I'm done with my degree. I really don't like how it feels to sit 10, 12 hours a day in front of a computer designing something. It's really cool. You're designing buildings. You're using every ounce of creative energy you have in your brain, but it just feels like so stagnant. I can't describe it. And we're trying to find a balance now. I mean, I'm trying to find a balance. I'm trying to find the balance that'll solve this feeling. Exercise helped. Um, Recognizing time is subjective helped, and the third one I forgot what it was, but yeah, that's the weekly epiphanies. On a side note, if you're following Bitcoin right now, it's at 15K. It just crossed 15K. It almost hit 16, and then it corrected a little bit. This happened when the elections happened. So the past 5 days, it's just been going up and up and up. So if you're into cryptocurrency, you might want to relook at it right now. What else was new this week? Made some new ads. About to start heavily testing a new product. That's pretty much it. A lot of my mental bandwidth was going into talking about what we just talked about. And yeah, damn, hitting a pretty blank slate right now. Let's take a moment to get present. You and me, buddy, right here. It's pretty awkward, isn't it? Anyways, this is it. This is a wrap. I will catch you on the next episode. And I hope I could have stirred your mind a little bit this morning. A lot of shit's happening in the world, and I wish you good luck. Remember, there's opportunities everywhere. Every time, every day, I'm going to try and bring the same energy. I'm going to try increase the energy so that I can test out the things you're not, and you can learn from this. So, check you on the next episode. Stay frosty, my clip clops, and I'm going to check you later. Peace.